Hello everybody, my name is Connor, some people call me NobleAsta, and I am here with another Katakuri video. I know you guys are probably sick of my mediocre Katakuri play, but don't worry, starting next Monday, I believe we will be on a different leader. We will be on Red, Yellow, Sabo, and those games are going kind of rough, so, but we are having fun. So back to this game though, I do end up winning dice roll, and I do decide to go second, and we are playing against Rebecca, which is a little nostalgic for me. I pulled Rebecca, it was I think the first alt-art leader I pulled, and I pulled her at pre-release, so I built her deck and was horrible with her. So part of me thinks like maybe I should play her again, it might be fun, but turn one, he decides to Rebecca ability and pick up, I believe, the Sabo. And turn one, we drop the pudding, and we get two Onamis and a Satori. So we check our hand, you know, make sure we pick up the best option, which is the only option at 7-drop Lin. And we put the rest on the bottom of the deck, and I believe we just go ahead and pass turn. So 3 Dawn turn now. Let's see what my opponent does here. He decides to drop the Rebecca Searcher. He gets Toy Soldier, what is that? Kong Gatling, and the I don't think it's Kong Gatling, and the Gecko Moira. Ooh, just forgot his name. But he picks up the Toy Soldier, which minuses 2 on trash. So that is a little, it's the idea of it is scarier than it actually is, especially right now. I don't really have big bodies on the board, but we get to our 4 Dawn turn and we top deck Cracker, which is, it's okay. We go ahead and tap 2 and we decide to put Banish on Katakuri, and then swing 5, 6, 7, 8 with Katakuri effect. We check our life, and it is an event. I can't see what event it was, but it is probably one that gives us a life. And he ends up trashing the Gets, I believe. Probably butchered his how you pronounce his name, but that's his name. And we are kind of waiting to see what he does here, which he drops 4 for the Erlumbus, which is a little intimidating, and then Rebecca abilities, and I think he decides to picks up the Bartholomew here, which I'm fine seeing Sabo in the trash. Personally, I have, there's a lot of, you know, people who play black in my meta, in my locals right now, and I am so sick of seeing Sabo, so always happy to see him in the trash. And I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. We have 2 7-moms. We just top decked a 7-mom, which is exactly what we needed. And so I'm kind of feeling like I'm not sure what I want to do. And like, I'm at my 6th Dawn turn, so there's not much I can do. So we Katakuri effect, check our top life. It's not Cracker, excuse me, Capone. And he goes ahead and counters out, and then we hard play the Cracker, which is definitely not what I want to do with Crackers. I don't think I ever want to hard play Cracker in any yellow deck I've ever built. Yeah, the only other deck I had him in was a Nell, but I will probably be building a Nell in OP07 just because I am an Nell guy. Oh, and then my opponent drops the ulti, and I remember when we were playing, I was like, oh, that's so cool, and he was like, yeah, it's not leader locked. So really love that card. You get to look at top 3 and pick a card you want, and I think you get to choose to put them on the top or the bottom. And I just think that's a really great card, honestly. So he goes ahead and he leader effects and takes Gets and trashes Orlumbus, and at this point I'm pretty happy to see Orlumbus not doing Orlumbus things. I will put a picture of Orlumbus on the screen now, but Orlumbus does, he has to KO a Dressrosa character specifically, but he can -4 to your board, and that honestly sucks. And I know when you combine him with Kairos, it's a nightmare. So we end up top decking a pudding, which is fine. And we are on our 7 Dawn turn, and I'm hoping at this point to get him to trash a life. So I go ahead and swing 5, 6, 7, and I check his life, and there he is. There's the Alt Art Kairos, and I tell him to put it on the bottom. I do not. I'm like, he may have a Kairos in hand, but I am not giving him that Kairos. It's just too risky. He goes ahead and I drop 7 Lin, and I think he ends up trashing his life here. Oh no, he gives me a life. So yeah, I'm pretty content with leaving or putting Kairos at the bottom. I swing 5 with Cracker, and he counters out with the Rebecca blocker. So overall, I'm sitting pretty. I got 6 life, I believe. But he goes ahead and he uses Orlumbus to minus Lin by 4, KOing the Rebecca Searcher, and then he Gravity Blades both of those cards, which honestly is a really solid play. And you can see if he had Kairos there, that would be scary, because Kairos just won't die. But he finally gets the Coliseum, and then he picks up another Bartholomew. So I think he's got at least 2 Barts in his hand. So yeah, and so okay, we can think of Datsu here, and he's at 4 life, if I'm not mistaken. The layout will tell me if I am mistaken, but it is my 10 Dawn turn, so I go ahead and 10 Mom. Realistically, so I'm at 7 life right now, which is funny to me, but realistically, it might have been a better play to drop the Gidatsu we just top decked and kill the Orlumbus. Just so he doesn't have the ability to minus any of my characters, because that is rough. So he swings with Orlumbus, and I go ahead and take it, and we get the Amande, which is the 2k counter. I'm okay with that. I have a lot of counters in my hand, which is not something I say often playing Katakuri, but I'm happy to see it, honestly. He goes ahead and minuses Lin by 2, I believe, with Toy Soldier. And then he trashes 2, the Leo and Rebecca, and then he Bastardos it to minus it down some more. I'll put a picture on the screen of Trunin Bastardo. I think I said it wrong. But he's able to bottom deck it now. Or trash it. Excuse me, not bottom deck it. So we end up losing our Big Mom. So yeah, I think realistically the Gidatsu would have been a smarter play. Especially now because Orlumbus is behind that blocker. And that can be pretty rough. So he draws 2, trashes 2, trashes the Luffy in the Coliseum, and then he swings 5, and we counter out with Gidatsu. So I have a habit of looking at Gidatsu whenever he's in, or when I had him in the Katakuri deck, as a counter, and that's not necessarily the case. So 9, we swing 9 in the lead, I believe. I think we're trying to get rid of the Savo. I am going to drop the other 7 Mom, and I check my life, and it is the, what is that guy? Capone. I'm pretty sure it's the Capone, so I obviously leave him there, and I drop 7 Mom, and he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I know. And he trashes Gigatz, and he's sitting at 2 life now, but he does get to put Sabo back up, which, yeah, I think in this game, I think I could have played it a lot cleaner, for sure. I think, like, dropping the Gidatsu, getting rid of Orlumbus, because as you guys can see, Orlumbus is still on the field, and he is still scary, But speaking of scary things that my opponent has, he drops the 7-cost Luffy. That card is an absolute menace. I will put an image up on the screen. If you're not familiar with it, it can attack standing characters as long as the Coliseum is on field, I believe. And, oh no, it can just do that in general. The Coliseum lets your other characters do that. But he swings into Lin Lin and we counter out. We want to keep Lin Lin around, at least for a little bit. But the Luffy, sorry, I forgot where we were going. The Luffy can bottom deck some of your cards and then restand and freeze, I believe. It's a very strong card to have on the board, and it helps you from decking out, and it's just rough. You can get so many hits in. So he swings again, and I 0-cost event and trash Parasparrow. So he goes 5 into life, and I take it, and it's a Katakuri. Oh, okay. So it's Katakuri, not Capone. I lied. I take that, and unfortunately, I think I had to take that, and it's the Capone. So don't get the benefit off of that. But we are at 4 life, I believe, if I'm looking at my cards right. And he doesn't have a ton in hand right now. 4, I believe, in hand. So we go 8 into... Did we go 8 into life or 8 into Luffy? I really did not point as well as I should have in this video. But we go 8 into life and he ends up taking it. And so I go into Orlumbus and we get another Gadatsu on there's a Gadatsu on the top of our life. He blocks and 2k, or it gives us some counter. And I go ahead and I Katakuri the Onami into my life. Which I'm a fan of that play. I really like that play. And now that Sabo has been out for a bit, there is no Sabo effect. Onami can pop off. I'm hoping to KO the... I feel like probably I KO Sabo, but I would not be against KOing the Orlumbus with the Onami trigger, assuming we get it off successfully. So he's separating out his Dong, figuring out what to do, and at this point I'm a little nervous, I won't lie, because I don't have a lot of counter. I have 4k counter in hand. But our opponent is also in a tough spot. I say also, but I'm doing fine, honestly. But our opponent is in a tough spot. It was his first... I don't know if it was his first time back with... I don't know if he's played Rebecca before. I know that he was talking to one of the other guys who plays Rebecca and went nasty with Rebecca for a while there. And they were saying that you start and you lose significantly and then you start winning. So he's currently in that unfortunately struggling phase, if you will. But he attached Dawn to Sabo, and I think he's debating on where he wants to swing. Because I feel like he's with that much Dawn, I assume he's going into so he goes into Big Mom, and I don't have much to counter out of it, but I give him everything to counter out of it. He goes ahead and he Orlumbus minuses Katakuri and then KOs himself. So now I'm thinking, okay, if he swings into life, I'm getting rid of the Sabo. But he goes ahead, trashes Katakuri with the Bastardo, and he's putting some cards back into his deck so he can, I think, restand Luffy. This is looking pretty rough right here. At this moment, I'm like, oh no, like I'm not gonna be able to get over that last life, am I? So he swings, and I have no counter, so I just gotta let Mom go, which is unfortunate. And he goes ahead and passes turn, and then so my hand is 2 Amarus and a what's his name? Parasparrow. So I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Because at this point, I'm getting really nervous. You know, yeah, I have 4 life, but he's got such a strong board presence, and I have 0 counters. So I think if I remember this play right, it's dumb, and I probably should not have done it. But I'm separating out my Dawn. I think I'm going to attach Dawn to Pudding, and then I decide to 200 million volts Amaru Pudding. And he wants to tap his ulti, and I said like, oh, don't worry about it, like it doesn't tap. So I swing 7, 8 into. I think I swing into life. I think I'm going for game this turn. Which he. Does he end up taking? No, he ends up countering out. So I get him to 1 card in hand. And he doesn't have the Orlumbus on board. So I definitely think Kyros is okay. I Amaru the Katakuri. And I attach Dawn. And I swing into Luffy. I want him off the board. And honestly, I'm okay with that play. You know, swing with swing a Pudding, see if I can get the life. If I could get the life, swing full force in to life, but you know, I didn't. So he swings into life, and I go ahead and, you know, he sacrifices Sawa nobly, and he then Rebecca's ability gets a Rebecca, which is a counter for him, which is nice. And plays out the ulti to pick something. Bottom decks the rest. And let's see. There's not much he can do, I think. Oh, well, he has more cards on his hand, Connor. So he plays out Orlumbus. And I'm like, okay. And plays out the Rebecca Searcher. And he finds another Luffy, and I'm like, I just put so much effort into getting rid of that Luffy, and now you found another Luffy. That is unfortunate. So, we have 4 life, 10 Dawn. This game was very long. I 10 Mom, which is great. We get rid of the Kairos. And I swing 5 into life, and he can't counter out of it. So, I'm telling him I top deck 10 Mom right there. So that ends up being our game versus Rebecca. Yeah, I definitely think our opponent played really well, you know, and definitely applied a lot of pressure later in the game. I think it was just as he saw what he needed to see, the pressure definitely was apparent. I think I got a little greedy early game. I think perhaps like playing Gadatsu instead of Ted Mom and some things like that could have helped me stay. Well, I mean, I stayed above 3 life, I think, this whole game. But, you know, helped me perform a little clearer or be less nervous about it. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think down below. And that is going to do it for me, though, guys. If you guys like this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.